Okay, so the Arvaz opened things up getting the initiative, and they chose to use their shock infantry. And it's pretty much over here. You can see they punched through just about everything in the middle. Some of them are routed, but they also hit some routed units. Got some engagement here. They knocked that chariot out. Here are the losses from this one segment. 8, 12, 15 hits to 5. Now 15 hits, not quite enough. But I'm sure that those couple extra are going to show up. Obviously, I'm going to finish out the turn. I finish them out usually even when it is actually decisively finished. And here, we haven't even gone over the points yet. So there's also always some chance. But here we're looking at 50-something points. That can't be made up. But there's some chance in these scenarios for the winning side at one point in a battle to actually go over the hump. And we saw that, I think, in the last battle, actually. At least given that I was cheating. Alright, well, let's see what the next draw is. Put some thoughts into it. It's going to be the light cav, which is over here. And I think that's going to come by and try to shoot up those routed units as best as they can. Well, with the trumping in, that was denied, and the light infantry fired its missiles. So, just a matter of, if these cav were allowed to shoot these, it would be over. But now we're going to a Hittite, Chariots, a Hittite heavy chariot action. Well, those heavies kind of split up to put the hurt on as much as they could. They chased all those lights around, doing some damage to them, taking some on their own, especially making sharp turns at high speeds. They also did some pass-bys and knocked out permanently one of the shock infantry that was there. I missed, there was a melee or shock attack there. As you can see, the Hittite heavy is still there. It drove into it, the other unit, and sent it routing all the way back to here. Now over here, they did a slow turn and also chased down and killed one of the remaining Hittite lights, and that sends us over the line. We got 5 points more. That means we're down to -2. So it is essentially over, but let's finish out the turn anyhow. Alright, a couple Hittite activities. One, turning this, and the second one was the momentum, which they passed, luckily enough. No reason to interrupt them. There's not much they could do with it. They triggered the light infantry to fire. Nothing else is actually within his range, and he doesn't have his own wing to command. That light infantry killed one of the shock infantry opposing it, and has done some damage, but overall there's just not much that can happen. The only thing is, it did manage to rally everything in those two actions. Still a lot of pieces left in the cup though, a lot of things to go, and most of them are not going to be anything useful to the Hittites. Well, I spake too fast. They got the light infantry, fired off some missiles, and actually managed to kill 2 more units. That's 8 more points. That puts them down to 35. There's no chance here, but it's kind of nice to see some things falling. Interesting situation here. The Hittites got their shock infantry. Now, they couldn't attack with most of it. It was out of command. Their leader was engaged back here. We'll get to that in a moment. But they kind of pulled away. Now, the engaged thing was interesting because they were engaged against this thing hitting them in the flank and this one in the lead. They only have to hit the one that they were actually attacking, that they could attack, which is the guy they were facing. They defeated it. They moved here and away, and as far as I can see, the engagement is gone. It doesn't make any sense otherwise. So, when nobody can attack anymore, it goes away. But at least that's the way I've been playing it. But even if, let's say, this guy had been facing like this, I almost feel like the engagement should have been gone, but I probably would have considered keeping it or had to look at the rules a little more carefully. I think here it clearly could not have remained. Alright, a couple more chips left. Turns out nothing of interest. I pulled together and rallied with my heavy cav, rallying some of the forces near the commander's standard. Last shit was the light infantry. I don't even want to do anything with them. I don't want to push them forward. It can only hurt me as far as I'm concerned. If it had been an attack, a unit that had something it clearly wanted to do, yeah, that would be fine. But I don't want to engage the chariots. They outshoot me. I don't want to... Alright, I'll do something. 1, 2, 3, 4... I'll take some shots here. 4 at range 2 against normal. That isn't going to work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got a penalty against me for moving as well. That's not going to work. It's pretty hard to hit with these things. And I can't hit at range 3. So there, I did them all. Yeah, that's the end of the battle there. And, you know, I mean, my thinking of it is simply that the action shits came out in a way that tilted the battle one way or the other. Getting the right shits at the right time is huge. Could I have anticipated, hey, I don't want that shit? Sure. And a momentum roll. I don't feel like I was ever in that position, though. The Hittites collapsed much faster and harder than I thought they would. This was especially damaging. The power of those heavy chariots. And by the time the Hittites were... by the time the Hittite heavy chariots were able to attack, I was a little more used to it and a little bit... I was set up better for it. So actually losing these chariots had to do with that oblique line that I created. Not facing the enemy, presenting a flank, and bang, the whole thing fell apart. It's like a column getting hit in the side. It was no good. And here, well, what are they called again? I don't know, I can't read them. Arwazi. Their line was facing the Hittite, so they were able to pull back rather safely. They still took some hits, but you can see there's still some vestige of that. This is all there is of the Hittite light chariots. The rest got just wiped out. And then with the infantry, well, these guys have the infantry advantage. So if they win the chariot battle, which it seems they did in balance, both sides, you know, both flanks went to a different side, the side with the heavy chariots. But they got it on points here by a lot. And then when you walk away from that and say, well, okay, but in the center I've got the heavier infantry, yeah, it's going to go, you know, and, well, we see the results here. All right, up it goes.